Yeah.
Yes.
And if in the meantime, if I can figure something out, I will also intervene in between.
Sure, sir.
So there are 11 people I can see on that. So you can start.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
We are live now, sir.
Okay.
So, welcome students. Professor Sudhir Misra sir and Professor K.N. Jha sir is available in live session. You can post your questions in the chat box. First, we start with Google Forms questions, which we received 2-3 days back. The first question is by Daksh Chaudhary. Could this course be considered like the foundation for MTech in construction management?
How, Murli, you'll have to help me. Which is the part to be muted?
In YouTube, or else you can simply close the YouTube, sir. I will just ask the questions one by one, sir.
Okay, I've closed the YouTube, so
Yes.
I'll stick to this one here.
Right, sir.
So I think Professor Jha will take that question later, but if he has anything to add, so I'll just add this question, answer this question. What it says is, could this course be considered the foundation, like the foundation for MTech in construction management? I don't know what the question, what Daksh you mean by this. For example, foundation for MTech, I don't understand, because in the MTech program, any institute, whether it's IIT Delhi or IIT-Kanpur or any other institute, they will have their own MTech courses. As far as your BTech program is concerned, it's part of your own BTech curriculum. Now, whether or not this course and your passing this course is going to be considered as part of a credit for any degree or any certificate at all, that we cannot say. What we know for sure is that the NPTEL as a system will give you a certificate that yes, you have successfully completed this course. Okay. So whether it can, because there are so many issues in this course, so many subjects that we have covered, of course, parts of this course are parts of the MTech program in more or less any school or any university. And therefore, if you do this course and then go to that university, you will benefit, yes. But if you say that I've done this course, you please exempt me from doing a regular course in your university or institute, that probably will not happen. So that is my answer to you. I don't know whether this is what you were looking for. Professor Jha, would you like to add something? I think that is what the answer is.
No, you have explained it very correctly. So far, we do not have a system to carry the credit which you have earned through NPTEL. But I heard from some sources that government is trying to act in this direction also. And I'm not sure the timeline, but they are planning to give this also as a credit. And suppose you have done a number of courses under certain stream, then you might be considered for getting some kind of a degree at a later date. But right now, it is not yet done.
For AICT colleges, I think there is a mandate that there's some 20-30% or some such number, they can use NPTEL-based instruction as part of their curriculum. But that is not a foundation for the MTech in construction management. That's part of the regular curriculum in BTech.
That's right.
Okay. So can we go to the next question, Murli ji?
Yes, sir. So the next question is by student Rishi B. Mathur. Question is, please tell why we find net present worth, NPW.
NPW. Professor Jha, I'll leave this question for you.
Yes, I will try to answer. See, net present worth, or for that matter, any present worth, you try to find out what is the difference between your expenditure versus your incomes, right? So until unless you know how much you are in excess compared to your expense, you won't be able to take a decision. So net present worth, what it does, it tries to convert all the receipts and disbursements at some point of time, which is at time t is equal to 0. And based on that, you can compare two alternatives. So an option with a higher net present worth is definitely more preferable compared to an option which gives you lower net present worth. So this is one of the decision-making tool, and in that sense, net present worth plays a very important role.
Okay, so then we go to the third question. Then
I will also like to add one more.
Please.
Whenever you take more than two alternatives and try to compare at a time, then net present worth is not a right way. As far as two alternatives are concerned, yes, you can compare them with net present worth, but more than two, you should always go in for incremental analysis. So it could be incremental net present worth, or it could be incremental annual cost, or it could be incremental rate of return, because you have to understand that every rupee or every dollar is as good as the other rupee or the other dollar. So we utilize that concept. And whenever you have more than two alternatives, we go for incremental analysis and not for net present worth analysis. Thank you.
Okay.
So then, yes, sir. The next question is by a student, Deepshika Jain. Actually, it has two parts. One is, when will hall ticket be released? So I will answer that question, sir. The hall ticket will be issued within 2-3 days. And the another question is also, what will be the exam pattern? Sir, can you answer the exam pattern question?
Yes, exam pattern will be very simple. We will follow more or less exactly the pattern that we have followed in the assignments. That is, we will have some questions which will be multiple choice questions, A, B, C, and D. Both statements are true. One is true, the other is false, whatever. Then we'll have some questions where you'll be expected to do some calculations. And then there will be some questions which are comprehension in nature, which means that there will be a set of data which will be given to you, and you will be expected to go through that data, understand it, and answer 3 questions based on that comprehension. Okay, so that is what, I mean, I don't remember how many questions of what have been asked, what variety, but it's a 3-hour exam, and it's about 100 marks, 3 hours, and we will break it up into these kinds of questions. So exactly the kind of questions which we've asked in the assignments, that's exactly what it will be. And if you've done your assignments honestly yourself and you've understood this, it should not be very difficult.
And if I remember, Professor Misra, you have kept, I think, 40% from the assignment itself.
That's also correct. That's an important part of information, that yes, there is about 35-40% of the questions, not necessarily straight away from the assignment, but something which is directly based on the assignment. So if the assignment, that's what. So if you have done the assignments, that will also be a very big help to you as far as the final examination is concerned.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is by Mukul Patel. It has 3 parts, sir. The first part, in lecture 11 of break-even analysis, multi-productive alternate illustration, how was the coordinate of X calculated? How did we get the slope of the line from A to B to C? That is the first question, sir.
I think this is Professor Jha will have to help.
Yeah, actually, in the break-even analysis, basically you see how many products you have produced and what is the selling price. So basically you are trying to find the sales price versus cost, right? So these are the 2 parameters that will give you the slope, right? And if you see the diagrams which are given very clearly, the x-axis has been leveled as well as y-axis has also been leveled, and it will be given in the problem so that you are able to derive the slope also. So fixed cost will be given, so directly you can go to the y-axis downward, or yes, downward, and from there, depending on how much product you have sold and how much is the unit price, you will get a point. Now the only question is you have to join these points to get a line, and once you have the line, you will be easily able to derive the slope.
Thank you, sir. The next part is, please explain cash method and straight accrual method as it is skipped in lecture 32. But question related to the same is asked in assignment number 7.
See, in the cash method, mostly we are seeing how much cash we have received and how much cash we have spent, how much money we have spent in the form of hard cash. So it might be so happening that although you might have billed 100 rupees, but you might have received only 80 rupees from the client. So in the cash form, we are straight away taking that 80 rupees because that is the cash you have realized. Same thing happens for the expense purpose also. So irrespective of how much money you actually incurred, we are really looking at how much money you really paid out of your pocket in the form of cash. So this is how you have to interpret cash method of revenue recognition. And accrual method is also different slightly in the way I have explained the cash form. And we have very clearly given you the definition also. In fact, we also tried to give you one illustration and through the various data, we showed you how to calculate the revenue using cash method and accrual method and other methods of revenue recognition, percentage completion method. So please go into that example problem once again. And if you have any problem, you can write a mail to us.
Thank you, sir. The third part in that question is, please explain bad and doubtful debts, shareholders' funds, sundry creditors, bank overdraft, sundry debtors in detail, as it is not discussed anywhere in lecture 34, but directly assumed to be discussed in lecture 35.
See, as far as bad and doubtful debts are concerned, these are those money which you do not think you will be able to realize, right? So you might have a subcontractor whom you might have given some advance and he might have disappeared, right? So if you have, what I should say, if you think that now this money cannot be realized, that subcontractor cannot be traced, or that vendor who has taken advance from you cannot be traced, you in that particular year's financial statement show it as bad or doubtful debt. So you have lost your hope as far as realization of that money is concerned. What are the other terms? I forgot. One was bad or doubtful debt, and what was other?
Just a second, sir. I'll just
Sundry creditors, bank overdraft.
So these are creditors. Basically, you have, see, debtors and creditors, we have very well explained. Debtors are basically your asset. That means suppose some bill is pending and you are likely to realize that. So that is also to be considered as an asset, because within a period of less than 1 year, you are likely to realize that. Same thing is with the creditors. They are your liability, right? You might have taken some material from someone and you are very likely to be paying him within a period of 1 year. So these are the things we have covered under assets and liabilities, and these are considered as short-term assets and short-term liabilities because you can realize them within a short period of 1 year.
Thank you, sir. Now let's go to the YouTube chat questions. The first question is by a student, E-Civil. He has given his name as E-Civil. Good evening, sir. Please share the pattern and type of questions for the finals exam. I'll be grateful to you. I think we already answered.
Already discussed this question, yes.
Yes, sir. And then Rishi Mathur, the same. Yes, sir. Please tell the pattern. So already we discussed that question. Okay, another question. Anybody can play flute. Okay, the name is given like that. Please explain how to make the construction bill after the building has been constructed.
After the building has been constructed, if I understand, are you talking about the final bill? See, there are two types of bill normally we encounter in construction project. One, we call it as running account bill. So which is depending on the type of contract. It could be realized monthly or fortnightly or weekly, or it could be even bi-monthly. So depending on what type of work you have done and at what rate you should be paid, you submit the bill. And then depending on what is the retention money and what are the other terms of conditions of payment, you get paid. Then once you have completed or almost about to complete the project, you submit a final bill, which is normally done only after reconciliation of various activities that you have performed, their quantities as per the drawings or maybe as per the actual executed. So it may so happen that sometimes you might have been paid something extra for a particular item, so they will deduct that. Sometimes you might have been underpaid for certain item, that may be again adjusted. So then in the final bill, all these reconciliations are made, and then you are paid finally. And that is sometimes also known as full and final bill. So this is the explanation.
Just to add to that full and final payment part of it, it's only the, I mean, apart from the billing on quantities and so on, depending on the type of contract, there will also be recoveries. See, for example, if there may be items like steel or cement, which might have been issued to you at a certain rate, and those recoveries may not have, obviously it cannot be a final reconciliation of materials also. So that material recovery is also part of the final bill. So that can happen only after the building has been constructed and you say that, okay, we want to close this contract. Because at the end of it, there was a contract. The contract said that, okay, such and such a building with such and such specifications has to be delivered to us at this cost, no matter how the cost was determined, whether it is unit rate or lump sum, whatever. So once the building has been delivered, then you do all the reconciliation in terms of materials, in terms of the work done, in terms of any outstanding advances, this, that, everything. So that is just an addition to what Professor Jha has mentioned about the running bill and running account bill and the final.
And while calculating the, while reconciling the material bill, normally the clients also take into consideration the wastage that is specified in the contract.
Oh, yes.
So for example, they might be saying that, okay, in cement, we allow 3% wastage. So from the theoretical consumption, you will add that wastage also. And if you have if you have consumed something extra, then they will recover that. If you have consumed little less, that also is sometimes not considered very lightly, because they may think that you have not used the correct proportion of cement. So these are the things that they also consider during the final reconciliation.
Thank you, sir. The next question is by Rishi Mathur. Sir, Sir, after BTech, do the civil engineers get the job of finance management in any construction company, or MTech is a minimum criteria?
After BTech, you can get any type of job, and I see many people from different civil engineering background joining financing job or consulting job. So branch really doesn't have to play a role as far as choosing these options are concerned. And later, of course, you can do your master's in business administration or maybe in finance specialization. So it all depends. I mean, we can't give you the very, there is no right or wrong answer for this actually. Yeah, so exactly. It depends how your career moves.
Yes. That's true. So in fact, typically what will happen is that since your question is specific to get the job of finance management in any construction company. So in a construction company, in a large construction company, there is a group of people probably which handles the finance, which handles the tendering, for example, or the stores, which means procurement. So it depends on the company's requirements whether they'll put somebody with a BTech there or not. Now, typically what will happen if you go after a BTech, they may feel that you don't have any background at all in terms of finance. So you may not be placed there, but it's not to say that with an MTech you will have a finance background, unless it depends on what kind of an MTech you're talking about. If you're talking of MTech in construction management, yes, you will have some background in finance. You will probably have an advantage in order to be placed there. But in a construction company, please remember, Rishi, that a lot of it boils down to what kind of vacancies or what kind of slots are available in the different departments. So it's more of a rotation, more of a special, rather than the specialization that you have, that is one thing, but it is also a matching the fit, what the company requires. Okay, so I think, don't think that it is, an MTech of course will help, because you can say that, yes, you have the kind of background, you know the tools better than a BTech does, because that person may not have had exposure to any kind of financial decisions. So that's what my answer to you will be.
Thank you, sir. The next question is by Rishi Mathur. Sir, administration expense is placed in income statement before profit before tax or in profit after tax?
It basically depends on what kind of expense, whether this is admissible under tax or not. So if it is, let's say, admissible for tax benefit, let's say, for example, you have a depreciation expense. So although money is not going out of your pocket, but it is for accounting purpose considered as expense. Likewise, suppose you have provided training to your staff and you have incurred some expense in that, HR related expenses. So these are admissible for tax benefits. So then from the gross profit, you can subtract these because you have to take, this becomes your taxable income, gross profit minus these expenses. So net profit, what you are getting, this becomes admissible for taxes. So this is how you have to consider admissible expenses. So from the profit, you just deduct it and then apply tax. And then this is profit after tax.
Thank you, sir.
Murli, when is the exam for this course?
March 21st, sir.
Okay, so 21st we have the exam for this.
Yes, sir. So, sir, just now I checked the exam registration for this course. A total of 99 students have registered out of 2,097 students. 99 students have registered for the examination.
2,099.
2,097, sir. 97. The total enrollment, sir.
Enrollment is 2,097.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exam registration is 99, sir.
99. Okay,
yes,
very nice. Yes,
sir. So, one student E-Civil has posted a question. Sir, is there any definition or essay type question?
No. Yeah. Because no, there are no essay type questions. You are not expected to write too many things. I would have wished that we can have those questions. If we knew that there are only 99 people who will register, I might have taken a risk that of including some essay type question, because those have to be graded manually. So I have not done that. We have not done that at this time. No.
Thank you, sir. Students, if you have any questions, kindly post in the chat box.
Okay, so I think we have exactly half an hour kind of discussion today. So that's what.
Yes, sir. Maybe we will wait for a minute, sir, in case if they are not posting any questions.
What is the, okay, Rishi Mathur, Neeraj, there is a question for you, Neeraj. Sir, can you tell me what is the minimum attractive rate of return?
See, minimum attractive rate of return is that minimum interest rate, or let's say, is that minimum return below which no company would like to venture into any kind of a business. So suppose as a company, you have fixed your 15% as the minimum attractive rate of return. And in some investment option, you are getting a return only of 13%. So straight away management will say nothing doing, we will not go into this. Because the minimum that we are targeting is 15% and 13% is below 15%. So we will not pursue this. So you have a question of choosing an alternative only when your return is passing this eligibility criteria of being more than minimum attractive rate of return. Obviously, for different companies, minimum attractive rate of return varies. For IT companies, you have more attractive rate of return than compared to a construction company. Even within the same construction company, depending on the type of business, minimum attractive rate of return may change. For example, you are a company known in buildings. Now you want to diversify into roads. So in the beginning, you may like to even consider a slightly lower minimum attractive rate of return, because this is where you want to enter, you want to diversify. So these are basically management decision parameters on which investment decisions are based on.
I hope that is clear. I mean, it answers the question, Rishi. So I will take it at that.
So one question.
Yes.
I have submit 6 assignments, then assignment weightage is taken.
I don't know what the question. See, there are 8 assignments to be submitted, isn't it, Murli? That is the requirement, isn't it?
Sir, ours is an 8-week course, sir.
8-week course.
Yes, sir. So if it is an 8-week course, we will take best of 6 out of 8 assignments, sir.
Right. So what for this person, for this student, the question basically is probably saying that if I've submitted 6 assignments.
Yeah. So we will take all 6 assignments.
We'll take all the 6 assignments. The idea of taking all the 6 assignments was, well, only 6 assignments was to give you an opportunity that we will leave out 2 assignments where you have not done too well, or you have not been able to submit it. But if you have submitted only 6, then we'll take all the 6.
Exactly, sir. Thank you, sir.
So Rishi says another question, and sir, please tell me the definition of dumping and how gross profit is calculated. Now, this is something I don't know what.
How gross profit is calculated. See, a gross profit is basically how much you will get this information only when you know how much you have spent and how much revenue you have earned, right? So, speaking in a plain terms, it is basically revenue minus the expenses, right? After considering all the expenses, including your overheads incurred at site, general overheads incurred at offices. So you take out all the expenses from the revenue that you have earned, and that is what is your gross profit.
What is dumping? Have we reached? What is the... Dumping? In what context? Rishi, in what context are you talking of dumping?
Yeah, dumping is basically employed by certain. See, what they do is when they want to take out, when they want to increase the capacity of their factory production unit. Suppose right now they are operating at 60% of its capacity. Although the equipment is capable of producing 100, but let's say they are producing only 60 right now because there is no demand more than 60. So what they do is they increase the demand, they increase the production. So 60 may become 90. So this, for 30 products, they have to look for a market. So what they do, in some countries, they go and simply dump these. Means dumping means they just go and sell this at very cheap price. Right. So what has done, although they may not be realizing more profit on this additional 30 unit compared to the first 60 unit which they are selling in some other market, but at least some profit they are realizing. And that way they are able to enhance the capacity of their plant. So you will find many companies, you will find the same product. Let's say if you are talking of Johnson baby powder. I personally saw this same product, which in India we were getting at for, let's say, 120 rupees. In Canada, it is being sold for 30 rupees, same product. So that means the company has just dumped bulk of material at a very cheap price so that their production capacity of plant is enhanced and they are able to get more profit. Not the same profit what they are earning. In case there are certain strict rules for dumping these days. So if you are found that you are dumping, you might be landing up in problem. Many cases you might be hearing the news that so-and-so company have been accused of dumping and they have been put a heavy penalty. So these are certain things which we talk when in terms of, let's say when we discuss about break-even analysis, right?
Okay. So then we have this question. Rishi says her dumping is done by some companies, but not able to understand this. I hope you get a slightly better picture now. So I think, Murliji, what do we do? Because I think we have more or less answered the questions, and there were about 11 people associated with the...
I think we can end the session, sir. You can wish the students for the upcoming examinations.
Of
and
course.
Then we'll wind up, sir.
Of course. We wish you all the best for the exam. You could benefit at least to some extent, and you understand some principles that we thought we should, as civil engineers, you will find useful when you practice engineering in corporate world. And I don't know how many of you are not students and are actually working. Some of you probably are, and I hope you found the course useful to you. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Yes, I wish you too the very best. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir Misra, sir. Thank you, K. Jha, sir.
Yep.
So now I will end the broadcast, sir.
Please do that. Thank you. All the best. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Murli, now this the YouTube site is over.
1 second, sir. I have to within 30 seconds. I will stop the broadcast, sir. Just give me.
Fine. That's okay.
ठीक है, मैं फिर इनको ज्वाइन कर लेता हूँ, आपको करूँगा बाद में.
हाँ, ठीक.
ओके, थैंक यू.
ठीक है.
हाँ, चाय दे दीजिए यार, हो गया.